Chapter 10. The Cliff Door. Half a kilometer ahead, and 90 minutes earlier, Iris had stopped at the lip of the cliff because her body would not take another step until she counted things. The service van had gotten her to Paracas, and then a different man had opened the back doors at a fuel turnout off the coastal road and looked at her the way the airport adults had looked at her, like she was a problem already being solved. He had used Boss's name once into a phone. After that, there were no more vans, only him and the copper-pronged tool and the path down through dust toward the cliffs. She had walked because running on open ground at night is how children stop walking forever. 3 rocks at her feet, 2 scuffs on her right shoe, 1 sock. The missing one was the left, lost on the climb down to the cliffs, the way the left shoelace had gone days before. The wind off the sea that wanted to push her sideways, and the second wind, the older one under it, that wanted to pull her down. She did not look at the man with the copper-pronged tool. She had learned at the airport that adults who wanted to take you got bigger inside your head when you looked at them, and smaller when you counted exits past their shoulder. There were 2 exits. The path back to the trucks where she could be put in another van. The path down the broken stone where the cliff did the deciding for everyone. Neither one was hers, so she made a third. She bent and scraped a small spiral with a vertical line through it into the wet dust, the way she had seen it copied in one of the Paracas survey pages her father had left on the kitchen table months ago, when he still thought she was too young to read upside down. She did not know what it meant. She only knew careful people looked twice at marks that were almost hidden. She covered half of it with her shoe print, so it would not look obvious to the man behind her. Then she made herself afraid in a way she could control, picked the path the man wanted, and let him walk her down toward the basin. She was 12. She was tired. She had thrown 1 cracker crumb into the wind 2 miles back because she wanted something that belonged to her to land somewhere her father could not afford to buy. Her mark waited in the dust. Half an hour earlier, before the cliff, Ortega had asked Calder to stop.
Why?
Calder said.
Because the road forks ahead and one fork is faster.
And?
And someone who knows which one is here.
The SUV pulled off at a low, whitewashed mission chapel set back from the road, paint peeling, hand-lettered sign in 2 languages above the door. Iglesia del Buen Pastor, Good Shepherd. No one said the English word aloud. No cars, no service, just the door propped open by a stone. The sign underneath in Spanish named the pastor without naming a denomination, the way small custodes-tied chapels along this coast did, where local prayer drifted Catholic, but the order itself answered older lines. Inside, the air was cool and smelled of dust and old wax. A woman was sweeping between the pews. She straightened when the team came in, and the small bronze medallion at her collar caught the light. A raised hand inside a circle. Ortega's own thumb went to her chest before her eyes did. The woman saw it.
You are her,
she said.
I am her.
For a count of 2 breaths, neither of them moved. Then a voice came from the back of the chapel, cheerful as if entering a different conversation.
Beloved, if these had held their peace, the stones would have cried out. And I think the stones are tired today. Therefore,
mi amor.
Yes.
Soldiers.
Ah.
The man emerged from behind the rough altar with a Bible in one hand and a tin cup in the other. White hair, deep brown skin, the kind of face that did not stay solemn, even at funerals. He set the cup down on a pew, smiled at the team as if he had been expecting them since Tuesday, and said,
Forgive me, I had only just gotten started.
You will get to finish,
the woman said.
Later.
St. Paul also had this problem.
He did not.
He did. The Corinthians, twice.
Later, Rafael.
Don Rafael bowed once to her, with no irony, and turned the bow into a nod for Ortega.
We have a child to find.
Ortega did not ask how he knew. The woman set her broom against the wall.
I am Marisol,
She said.
He is my husband. Yes, he is always like that. Yes, we are coming with you.
Only to the cliff.
Ortega said.
Only to the cliff.
Marisol agreed.
Then to wherever after the cliff. You will not find the basin from the public path.
I would prefer it if you stayed.
And I would prefer if my husband stopped preaching at oranges in the kitchen. We do not always get what we prefer.
Don Rafael lifted both hands as if accused.
The orange was listening.
Outside, Rafael.
He went outside. Before they reached the prince, Ortega checked the old phone once more. A single line had answered her in the dark, in a hand Lena had not heard from in weeks. If water takes lower root, take open shelf. Tell her, I still hate borrowed semicolons.
Tessa,
Lena said.
Moving.
Ortega said.
Safer word.
Lena stared at the punctuation before she let herself stare at the meaning. Tessa was still alive. Tessa was still close enough to send root notes. That was either a comfort or a warning. Lena did not yet know which. She put the line away for later and turned back to the cliff. The first print was Iris's. Lena saw it before Calder did, pressed into dust where the wind could not smooth it away. The narrow heel, the slight inward turn, the small scrape where fear had shortened her step. Beside it lay a man's stride, fresh. The cliffs of Paracas stood black against the sea. Headlights cut across sand, rust-colored stone, and the drop beyond. Far below, the Pacific struck rock with a force Lena felt through her boots before she heard it. Below the chamber line, one split black pillar leaned out from the cliff like a broken tooth. It stood where the lower path vanished toward the sea, ugly enough to remember, and high enough to find again in bad light. Calder dropped to one knee.
How long?
Calder asked. Ortega crouched without touching the marks.
Not long. The wind would have softened them.
She is close,
Calder said.
So is whoever's with her.
Ortega said.
or behind her.
Lena said. Calder looked toward the cliff path. For once, he did not argue with the worst possibility. He only stood, and that made him more frightening. Matt climbed out of the truck with his recorder bag tied against his chest.
The sea is making the cliff hum. I would like that noted before we enter anything ancient and narrow.
The cliff is doing what cliffs do.
Ezra said quietly, more to himself than to Matt.
If these should hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. The cliff is not telling us anything new. The cliff is what stone does when it is allowed to be stone. What we listen for is what uses it.
Noted.
Ortega said.
Ropes first, theories later.
Marisol pointed past her shoulder to a salt-white seam in the cliff face that the headlights had missed.
South, not the obvious one.
She was already pulling a harness from a pack she had carried out of the chapel without anyone seeing her lift it.
Don and I come down with you.
I would prefer that you stayed.
Ortega said.
I know.
Don Rafael was already threading webbing through his own harness with the unhurried competence of someone who had done it many times and remembered the order of buckles by hand.
I have done worse cliffs,
he said. Ezra came up beside Lena with Tessa's copied survey pages folded into his jacket. He did not say resonance. Lena appreciated that. Ortega made them stop at the cliff anchor long enough to assign order. The shape of the place mattered now. 3 levels above the surf. The trucks sat on the high cliff above the public necropolis. The first rope dropped to a stone ledge halfway down where an old chamber mouth opened in the cliff face. From that ledge, the path forked, a lower route through sea caves at the waterline, and the broken cliff path that wound east toward a rope bridge over a deeper chasm. Iris had been driven below the chamber and toward the sea caves. The chasm and the bridge would not matter until later. The chamber would.
Find Iris. Confirm whether this is the origin site. Leave before Voss's people reach the lower path. No heroics on the rope.
The skull cases stayed in the second truck, foam strapped against the wheel well. Marisol assigned 2 villagers to watch them with the tarp lashed down and the lights off. The cases were not coming down the rope. The rope was for finding Iris. Matt looked over the edge and stopped talking.
Clip in,
Ortega said. She tapped Tessa's copied survey with one gloved finger.
4 spaces if the survey is honest.
Ortega said.
Cliff door, burial chamber, lower root, archive. If we find a 5th, it is either a trap or someone else's mistake.
Matt clipped in. Ortega went first, then Calder. Marisol after Calder, calm as a woman who had walked this cliff in worse light. Lena followed, with the cliff vibrating under her palm. Halfway down, a foothold crumbled. Her knee struck stone, the rope snapped tight, and for one blank second she hung between wind and water.
Lena?
Ezra called.
Do not come down on top of me.
Lena said. She found the notch, forced her weight back into the rock, and made the ledge with one glove torn and her ribs aching. Matt came down pale and silent until his bag swung out and panic locked his joints.
Lee,
Ortega said from below. That reached him.
I hate this,
Matt said.
good. Hate it one step lower.
Ortega said. He did. Ezra came down after him, checked Lena's torn glove with cold fingers, and pressed the seam flat so it would not catch on stone.
There.
Ezra said.
Thank you.
Lena said. He let go of her glove and stepped back without making the moment more than it was. Dawn and Marisol stepped onto the ledge, Marisol checking her husband's harness and then her own. Dawn dusting limestone off his palms and looking pleased to have arrived without giving a sermon. Then Ortega's lamp found the chamber mouth ahead, and the world remembered why they had come. The entrance opened in the cliff like a wound that had learned to hide. Behind them lay the public necropolis. Below them waited sea fissures and whatever lower route Iris had been driven toward. This chamber was not the end of the path. It was the hinge between the graves above and the water below. A faint mineral glow gathered inside the stone. Ortega's thumb found the medallion under her shirt and pressed once.
Not yet.
Calder said.
Not to you.
Ortega said.
Fungus can glow,
Matt said.
The first survey recorded mineral fluorescence.
Calder said.
That is not fungus.
Matt said.
Weapons low.
Ortega said.
No sudden movement unless I call it.
If Iris is inside, no one fires blind.
Calder said.
Or near her.
Lena said. He looked at her, then nodded.
Or near her.
Only then did Ortega enter. The passage sloped inward, narrow enough that shoulders brushed stone. Mineral seams glimmered and went dull when their lamps crossed them. Matt lifted his recorder, then lowered it, as if the machine might overhear them.
Same family as the skull cases,
he said.
Cleaner. The cliff is doing the thing. The skulls were repeating it.
Dawn, behind Marisol, spoke quietly.
Stone makes its own sound. The sound is not the speaker. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night sheweth knowledge. That is the 19th Psalm. The day does not invent the speech. The day carries it. The same is true of stone.
Briefer next time, mi amor.
Marisol said.
Or we are frightened and finding patterns.
Lena said.
Also possible,
Matt said.
Keep both labels.
Lena said. Ahead, Ortega raised a fist. At the base of the wall, Iris had left a second print. Beside it was a mark scratched into dust with a small finger. A spiral crossed by a straight line. Ezra unfolded Tessa's copied notes.
This cluster appears in her survey pages,
He said.
She thought it mapped relationships between chambers.
Iris changed it.
Matt said. Lena leaned closer. The pressure marks were uneven. child deep over ancient shallow lines.
She marked the old route,
Lena said. Ortega studied the mark, then the wall above it.
No, she warned us the obvious route is wrong.
She angled her lamp away from the child-scratched spiral and found a salt-white seam higher in the wall, almost invisible unless the light came from the side. Tessa's survey had missed it because the old photograph had flattened the shadow.
There,
Ortega said. Matt lifted the recorder, listened for one careful second, and pointed to the seam without touching stone.
Dry air behind it. Not much, but enough.
For once, Iris had not opened the room. She had left them a warning and kept moving. This one was on the adults. Calder's face tightened.
She is leaving a trail.
more than a trail.
Lena said.
She is arguing with one.
The passage opened into a domed chamber carved from limestone and older, darker rock. Skulls lined the walls in niches, wrapped in ancient cloth, some elongated by human hands into high vaults, others broken by time, all turned toward the center. Shell beads had gone gray. Copper stains had bled green into the wrappings. Salt stiffened everything. At the center rested a sarcophagus too large for the chamber and too old for the name anyone had given it. Its lid had been shifted aside recently.
Origin witness?
Lena asked.
Yes.
Calder said.
NEP000 pointed here. It did not come from here.
Lena said.
Correct.
Calder said.
And NEP001 was the sequenced specimen with the clearer chain of custody.
Lena said.
This site tells us why the skull was hidden, not what we are allowed to take.
Correct.
Calder said.
Good, because if one more person uses old bone as a permission slip, I may become difficult.
Matt looked up.
May?
Lena ignored him and took photographs before lowering the camera.
No sample has been removed?
Lena asked.
Not by my people.
Calder said.
That answer has a hole in it.
Lena said.
The first survey sealed it. Later teams came close and backed away. Tessa argued the context mattered more than possession.
Names.
Lena said. Calder gave them. Lena wrote them on an evidence sleeve before she let herself look at the skull again. Ezra stood on the far side of the sarcophagus, looking at the carvings rather than the bones. Tall figures, smaller figures, lines like rivers, lines like ladders, spirals broken by vertical marks.
Genesis says they were on the earth in those days.
He said. Matt shut his eyes.
And also afterward.
Ezra said. The words sounded small against the chamber.
The Nephilim.
Lena said.
The line everyone argues over because it refuses to behave.
Ezra said.
Later giants, remembered giants, or people carrying a name that became larger than bodies.
You are hedging.
Calder said.
I am refusing to pretend the Bible is thinner than it is. The watchers who transgressed are not wandering loose in Scripture. They are bound. But knowledge can survive the one who first misused it. So can an appetite.
What appetite?
Calder asked.
To make humanity greater without asking whether greatness can be holy.
Ezra said. The mineral seams along the walls dulled. Every shadow deepened at once.
The room answers what was put into it,
Dawn said, low.
When the morning stars sang together, Job 38, the stars sang. The stars were not the song. The room here has been taught a different word than its first one. The first one is still under.
Rafael.
Yes.
From below came a child's hand, pale and quick against stone. Calder stepped forward.
Iris.
The figure froze at the lower tunnel. Lena saw a sliver of face, the long curve of skull under a hood, eyes reflecting too much of the mineral glow. Iris looked at them long enough to warn them. She put one finger to her lips. Then she vanished below the chamber lip. Calder moved before thought caught him.
No.
Lena said. He stopped with one boot at the lower step, every part of him angled after his daughter.
She warned us.
Lena said.
That was not fear. That was instruction.
His jaw worked once. Then he stepped back. Ortega found the lower passage with her lamp. Wet air came from it, carrying salt, blood, and voices. Men, low and urgent. Then Iris, clear enough to make Calder go rigid.
No, it hurts them.
A man's voice answered her.
Pain is instruction.
Ortega caught Calder by the arm. This time he did not pull free. They moved fast, but not blind. The lower tunnel bent left and opened through a crack in the cliff. Wind carried salt and the crash of waves. Below, moonlight opened the world in layers. Cliff, ledge, the split black pillar, white surf. Far down and left, a small figure moved along the lower path. Iris. Behind her came 3 larger figures. One limped. One carried something long against his shoulder. One moved wrong. Human under strain. A body forced past its limit and paying for every step. Calder bit down on her name before it escaped him. Below, the figures drove Iris toward a fissure in the rock, hurting her.
Sea caves,
Calder said.
Why?
Lena asked. Ezra looked at the fissure, then at the cliff above it.
A place built to answer sound.
All bad,
Matt said.
Go.
Ortega said. They ran.